Welcome to the final Scratch Entrepreneur Show of 2018. I don't know about you, but I am reflecting. I'm looking back at last year, and then I am looking forward. I'm looking forward at 2019 with a whole bunch of new stuff. And I thought, let me get on the microphone and just share kind of how I'm looking back and how I'm looking forward. And hopefully it will help you with your process. I bet you've got something printed right now, or you've bought some kind of planner. And if you're a business owner like me, you are totally in the throes of planning for 2019. And so this episode is all about how that process works for me. I hope it's valuable for you as well. Scratch Entrepreneur. True stories of remarkable people who dropped everything to turn an idea into a healthy, profitable business. Hey, Scratch Entrepreneur listeners. Jeremy Goodrich here, owner of Shine Insurance and your host, of course, for the Scratch Entrepreneur podcast. I'm excited about the 2019 season of the show. In 2018, we really pulled it together from, in the previous couple of years, we had done a show maybe every month, every couple of months, or twice a month. It really depended. Really, every time I got a show together, I took the time to edit the conversation and put things together. We'd have a show come out. And at 2018, I really said, well, let's see what it looks like to do this show on a consistent basis. And we started by doing that twice a month, so every 2 weeks. And then starting in July, we did it every week. And the big change there is that I actually hired someone to do the editing and a lot of the stuff that took me hours and hours to do. And any podcaster who has ever gone through that knows it really is a time-consuming venture. And it's fun, and it's interesting. And taking the conversation that you had with someone and turning it into a show is awesome. But it became more than a hobby. It became kind of a distraction. And so for 2019, my goal, my word for 2019, as I'm sort of planning out the year, is focus. I want to be focused. And I want to be focused on a couple of things. One is the things that make the most money for the least amount of work. Now, that, I don't know, maybe that seems like self-consumed or something like that. But at some point, you really have to say, okay, what are the things that I'm doing? And if everything I'm doing has value, everything I'm doing is attempting to help people to be that balance between making money and helping people. If all that is happening and is true, then what of those things are the most fulfilling and the most profitable? And so I'm looking at that right now. And I believe there are three things that are the most fulfilling and the most profitable. And I just wanted to break those down for you really quickly as you're planning your 2019 and you're thinking about what you're going to do. Thought I'd just give you a little bit of insight into our process and our thinking. So it really starts with Shine Insurance, our insurance agency here in Bloomington, Indiana. That is the center of our business world. It is the thing that makes us, makes our mortgage payment and all those kinds of things, and is really satisfying work. We are changing the way people feel about insurance in Bloomington, Indiana, and beyond. And one of my primary business thoughts, things I do, is always surrounded around Shine Insurance. What is it we can do to help people more, to make raving fans out of our clients, to really do good for our community? All those things are a huge facet, a huge part of my business experience. And so obviously that is number one. And this year, the focus is going to go back a little bit to Shine and just say, look, I want to grow Shine. I want to help more people. I want to be able to make profitable decisions and thoughtfulness. So that's number one. And a couple of things we're doing to make that happen is I'm currently hiring a couple more members of our team. So we're hiring someone else who is going to help with commercial insurance for our tech insurance program and our investment properties program and, our mom and pop shops around Bloomington, Indiana. So we're hiring someone to help with that. I'm also hiring someone who's going to become sort of the assistant director of marketing. So I'm like super pumped about this job. So basically, it is going to be the first person I've ever hired who takes on a lot of these processes, the Shine marketing, the new home buyer's guide, which is a cool product that we have online, the Scratch Entrepreneur podcast, and really starts to drive the train. So that person is putting together the processes, making sure we have editorial calendars, making sure we're following through with our editorial calendars, making sure that the stuff we create actually gets watched, listened to, and then ultimately listening to our listeners, listening to our followers, listening to our community as they say, here's what we want and here's what we need, right? I mean, ultimately, that is the goal. Getting at the heart of your community, whoever your community is, saying, here's what we want and here's what we need from you. If you know how to listen to that, that is the number one most important element of a healthy, profitable business, right? Because if you can give your community what they want, then that's the whole point. I mean, like, if you have built a community, if you have a group of people that you're fortunate enough to call fans of whatever it is you're doing, then knowing what they want and giving that to them is the key. And so we're hiring a marketing director who I'm really, really hoping will take the reins and really start to drive the train of our different products and of our campaigns and all the things that we do. And we'll obviously share that. Maybe I'll be bringing that person on Scratch Entrepreneur a little bit more. But so we're hiring those two folks, one for really driving the commercial side of Shine Insurance more, and super pumped about that. And then the other to take on the marketing reins, to really drive this thing and to hold me to task, to hold our processes to task, and to make sure that we are truly doing valuable things for other people. And if there are things that we're doing that aren't valuable, that we, stop doing them or change the way that we're doing them. We somehow find a way to make sure that what we are doing is valuable for you, our community, and our listeners. And so I kind of went on into the other things that I'm doing, but that's really Shine with that marketing director over the top of everything. And then in 2019, I don't know if I've talked about this many times, but we have this new home buyer's guide. It's a 9-step guide, online course for the entire process of buying a home. From the very beginning, you're just thinking about buying a home. You want to know what to do before you even start, all the way through walking in the front door, unlocking your dream home, and deciding how to handle that, how to move forward as a homeowner, dealing with some of the things like your monthly mortgage payment and stuff like that. So we walk you all the way through the process. And that product came out of helping new home buyers get insurance at Shine Insurance and being like, oh man, they have all these questions. People had all these questions about all these different parts, the mortgage lender and the realtor and what the heck's an appraiser and an inspector, or, oh, why am I getting such high rates as compared to my friend? The answer being because you have really low credit. And all these questions were being asked of me, and I was just like, okay, I want to be able to answer these. And I would go ask lenders, and I would go ask realtors, and I would go ask all the different players in the home buying process. And I started to look around and just realized that there just wasn't something out there that just simply helped people answer these questions. And so we've created this product that does it really well and creates a community around it. So in 2019, we're going to put some energy behind that. We're going to say, all right, we're going to open the course 3 different times in the year. So we're going to have where you can sign up and become a part of the course prior to the course launching. And then that group of people, whether it's 10 people or 10,000 people, all are going to go through the course together. They'll go into the course, they'll learn the processes, we'll have a community behind it, and we'll all walk through the entire course together. And then it'll close. And hopefully those folks who are a part of that are going to be raving fans after the process. And we're going to ask those people to share their experience, to share what they learned, to share how much better of a home buyer they are now than they were before the process. And then we'll turn around and launch again. So we'll take a month off, and then we will do another launch. We'll bring another community of people in. Maybe that's 20 people, maybe it's 20,000. And we will walk those folks through the process. And so it's a 16-week cycle that I've created to have these new home buyer's guide launches. And I'd like to talk about that process with y'all too. As we go through the 2019 season, I'll come on and I'll talk about that a little bit. So that's the new home buyer's guide, and we'll see how it goes. I really want to walk out of 2019 either feeling like the new home buyer's guide is a success, it's truly helping people, it's also profitable, and we're going to continue doing it more and more, or that for whatever reason it wasn't needed in the marketplace, and either adjust and change it or move on to a different idea. So 2019 is the make or break year for the new home buyer's guide, in my opinion. And then finally, Scratch Entrepreneur, the podcast that you're listening to right now. It has been an adventure and will continue to be an adventure. Since 2016, I've been creating these episodes, chatting with amazing entrepreneurs, listening to their stories, and sharing them with you. In 2019, I want to continue to do that. What I'm trying to figure out is how to do that in a way that is truly helpful to you, the listener. Is it the story of the business owner that's interesting? Is it the insights into business ownership? Is it the insights into their type of business? So in each conversation, if I'm talking with a musician, I talk about the music industry. If I'm talking with a tech startup, I talk about being a startup and how to make that happen. If I'm talking with a restaurant owner, I talk about the food industry. So is that piece of the conversation the most important? I'm going to continue to try and figure out what is the most important and the most valuable piece of our podcast. And so what I would love for you to do right now is to go to the Scratch Entrepreneur Facebook group, or go to the Patreon community, patreon.com/Scratch Entrepreneur, and reach out or just shoot me an email, jeremy@shineinsurance.com. Shoot me an email and tell me what you think and what you like. And if you're a listener and if you've listened to a few episodes, what is it that you love about Scratch Entrepreneur? And frankly, what is it that you don't, right? What is it that you're not into? What is the part where every time it comes up, you just shut it off? I would love to know that. I feel like that's the most important insight that anyone could provide. Well, I was listening to this one episode and man, I fell asleep. And it just didn't, I immediately turned it off. It was a total turn off. That is what I'm looking for. Where are those places? And what can we do to get rid of them and make them more interesting, right? Or is it the business insights? I mean, is what you want from this podcast really to be a smarter business owner, to make better decisions, to have more resources in your corner, to know how to do this well, to know how to grow a healthy, profitable business from the seed idea that you have? Either you just started it or you're 40 years in, like Michael Cassidy, who we interviewed. He finally felt like it had come together, and I loved that. And I want to do that for my business, and I want to do it for yours as well. So I'm trying to figure out with Scratch Entrepreneur, what is the most helpful? How can I ask questions of guests that really help you as a listener? How can I tell stories that really help you as a listener? Maybe it's more episodes like this one where it's just me talking on a microphone about the things I'm thinking about, how I'm building my plan for 2019. Or maybe it's simply asking better questions of the people that I interview. And there's some great interviews coming up with all sorts of business owners. Pat East of Hannibin Marketing, who has built, grown, and sold he's one of my heroes, one of the most interesting businesses. And now he has a new one he's going to talk to us about. He's coming on the show. Chuck Surak of Sweetwater Sound. They sell musical instruments, equipment, things like that, things like I'm talking on right now on my microphone, and computers and all that kind of stuff. And he's going to be exciting. So lots of exciting interviews coming up. And the most important thing to me is that it's valuable to you. So if you want to reach out either by my email, jeremy@shineinsurance.com, or the communities, the Scratch Entrepreneur group on Facebook, or on Patreon, that would be awesome. I would love to hear, and I would love to adjust based on your recommendations. So what are your ideas for 2019? How are you creating your plan? I would love to know. I want to tell you a little bit about the resources that I'm using. It starts with one that a lot of people use, and it's Michael Hyatt's planning book. We got that. I've never used it before. I'm trying it. It's kind of pricey. I mean, it's like $30 for 1 quarter, so you buy it essentially 4 times a year. And I've bought it. We have it. Mackenzie and I are starting to work through it right now, so that'll be interesting to see if that's valuable. I also got this planner, and I'll put a link in the show notes here. And it's real simple. It's a PDF, basically. You print it off, and it asks you to consider 2018, the year that was, essentially. And it does a great job of asking interesting questions about you personally, about fitness and health, about business, about kind of all elements of you, and asks you to reflect, right? Super basic, but it does a great job of asking the right questions and really helping you dig into it. After I was done with the reflection on 2018, I was like, yeah, there was a lot of stuff there that I hadn't thought about. And what it did was it framed my thinking for the transition from 2018 to 2019. So I'll tell you a little bit about what my 2018 was. It had a lot to do with growth, but it also had a lot to do with just kind of going a lot of different directions. I was kind of bringing this podcasting thing into this huge, expansive realm. Like I built my own podcasting studio at Shine Insurance, and then had the opportunity to build a second studio for the Dimension Mill here in Bloomington, Indiana, an incubator that just opened up. And I was buying equipment and growing the thing and getting into the nerdy parts of it. And I kind of got buried in it. I kind of got to the point where I was like, oh, if I see another microphone, I'm just going to cry. And it was fun. Like if it was just a hobby and I had plenty of free time and lots of money, that like money wasn't like a thing, I probably would feel differently about it than I do. But the reality was it really distracted me. If it was taking away from focus. And so 2018, wow, amazing. And all sorts of cool stuff happened. Shine did a great job of growing, and Scratch. I finally got to the point where I was doing 2 episodes a month for the first half of the year, and then an episode every week. That was awesome for the second half of the year. And the New Home Buyer's Guide, we did nothing. So it just kind of sat there. But 2018 was all over the place. So 2019, my word that I put in this planner that I'll put a link to in the show notes is focus. And it's funny because I'm already conflicted. I already have, a lot of people asking about how to create a good podcast and wanting some leadership on that. And I love it. It's like so much fun. I love spending time on it. And there's a bunch of great podcasts that are coming out that I've had a little bit of just sitting down with people and helping them think through an idea, or letting them use the studio space, or, teaching them some tech thing or some launch process. Like it's been fun for sure. And so I'm like, okay, well, that's the big distraction that I've got to handle right now, early 2019. What am I going to do about that? Is it a distraction? Or is it an opportunity? Like, isn't that the big problem? And I don't have some magical answer for myself. And so obviously for you, if you have something that you're like, okay, is this a distraction or is this an opportunity? I guess what I hope from 2019, and I can't wait to share this with you through the show that you're listening to right now, the Scratch Show, is how to figure that out, right? I mean, episode 2 of Scratch Entrepreneur, if you go back, it was Jason Wilbur. It's a great show. Good conversation. And one of the things that he said back then, I mean, this was a couple of years ago, 3 years ago maybe, he said, I had to learn how to focus. I had to learn what was distractions and what wasn't. And I heard that then, and I was like, yeah, absolutely. And I'm not sure I've listened or dove into that and figured out, what that means. And so in 2019, I am going to focus, to figure out what focus means, to figure out what it means to just say, okay, I'm going to do, it's 3 things. It's already a lot of things, right? I'm going to do these things and I am going to do them well. And if that means bringing other people in, then that's what I'm going to do. And if that means looking at something halfway through the year and saying, hey, we're bagging it, it's not working, we're out on it, then that's what we're going to do. And so my word for 2019 is focus. And so I guess the last thing I want to leave you with in this show is something that is the reason I turned the microphone on in the first place, because it was just a little epiphany I had. And it was around this idea of doing too many things. Like, I've got this new focus, is my word for 2019. And I was looking back at 2018 and kind of feeling like, man, I let so many things distract me. And I had all these other things that I wanted to do and got distracted by them. And I said, I think that there's truly value, in expanding. And so if you're expanding, if you're making decisions to try new things, there might be a point that you get to that's similar to where I'm at right now, where you're like, okay, I've expanded, and now I'm realizing that I'm distracted, that there's too many things going on, that expansion took me away from focus. And so now I'm going to come back. But had I not done that, had I not expanded, had I not made those decisions and done those different things and gone out into those expansive places, I'd still be sitting back at the space before that, where I'm saying, hey, maybe I should do that thing. So I think that when you try something, even if it doesn't become valuable, even if it turns out to distract you, to not be your focus point, you decide you come back to that focus space, you're still a better person, a better business owner, a better entrepreneur for having tried. Now, obviously, if you spend a ton of money and you go bankrupt or something, it's a little bit different. But, if you tried that new thing, if you went out and dug that tunnel under LA like Elon Musk is doing right now, and it just doesn't work out, well, then you went there. And I'm not saying, be cavalier or just go crazy with every single idea or anything like that. I mean, obviously, you have to be thoughtful, right? But to expand is valuable, whether it succeeds or not. And I think that's what I'm learning right now. And actually, all the things I've done are successful in essence. I mean, they're not freaking out or anything, they're not going crazy, but probably any direction that I have available here could be valuable, could be profitable, could build a more healthy, more profitable business. But sometimes you got to bring it back in. And that doesn't mean there's anything wrong with having expanded in the first place. So I can't wait for 2019 with you. I can't wait to focus, to do the things that I'm planning to do, to make the work that I've done to this point even better, to see how our businesses grow, how my businesses grow and how your businesses grow, and to do that together as a community. So if you haven't done so already, I hope you'll subscribe to the show via whatever you use, iTunes or Stitcher or Google Play, or I don't know, whatever your thing is. Actually, I use Sodes right now, SODES, super cool app. Doesn't download anything, so it does use your data, but it doesn't take up space on your phone, which is pretty cool. So you should check out Sodes. And I'm looking forward to the work we're going to do together in 2019. And I hope that we can do that through this podcast. We can do it through the Patreon site, patreon.com/Scratch Entrepreneur, where we do our after shows, where we have all sorts of resources, where I share some more personal stories about myself and my family and all those kinds of things. And on the Facebook group, which you're welcome to join at Scratch Entrepreneur, facebook.com/Scratch Entrepreneur, search Scratch Entrepreneur or whatever. All right. So, next show should be in a couple weeks, and at that point we'll get back on schedule. I've kind of stopped for December and just relaxed and taken a break and reassessed, right? That's what we do late December, and I hope you're doing that too. And if you have questions about that reassessment or want to check in with us, I hope you do. So, all right, until the next time, have a wonderful day.
This show was produced and edited by me, Jeremy Goodrich. The music is by my good friend, Mark Vinton. In college, we would get together most Friday nights and play music to the wee hours of the morning. Here's the thing, though. He lived in a tiny apartment with about 200 neighbors. We had a drum set, amplifiers, and we loved to turn it up. Kinda can't believe that the cops only showed up twice. If you enjoyed this podcast, there's a couple of things we need you to do right now. First, subscribe to Scratch Entrepreneur on iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, or wherever you listen to podcasts so you can hear future episodes as soon as we release them. While you're there, please give the show a review. We'd love to know what you liked, what you didn't, and what you want to hear next. Until the next time, we truly appreciate you listening.